Well, hello there. So today we're going to start to get into permissions. Happy day. So permissions is what gives you one of the things. It gives you access or denies you access to certain things. So to play with this, I already have a TMP file. So I'm going to make mkdir temp. And then I'm going to get in there. And let's just touch temp. So now if I do ls-ltrah, I can see that temp is for me, the user. In fact, it's these. The first one's special. Read, write, but not execute. For people in the group, which the group is EC2 user as well, read, no writes, no execute. And for everyone else, other, read, no write, no execute. And that's a default. And we get that through what's called a umask. We're going to cover that later. But I just wanted you to understand that there are different permissions here. Read, write, and execute. And there's some defaults. Okay? By the way, if I go up a directory and I look at my temp directory, that temp directory was created with a D for directory. There's read, write, and execute, because you have to be able to execute to get into it for user. Read, no write, but execute for group, because they need to be able to execute to get into it. And read, no write, and execute for other. Once again, you have to be able to execute to get into it. Okay, so cd temp. So I have one set of permissions for creating files by default, and another one for creating folders. Cool. Did you know, let's see. We're going to play with a couple new commands. So let's look at the man pages, just slightly for those. It's going to be chmod and chown and chgrp. Those are the first ones we're going to work with. So let's man chmod, and it changes the file mode bits. And there's a lot of information here. And it talks about user, group, and other. Okay? So this is something that if you're going to deal with it regularly, you're going to want to be very familiar with. And it gets complicated. There's some interesting things here, like set UID, set good bits, sticky bits. So there's a lot in here. Man chgrp. Wait, we'll do chown. Man chown. So this changes the file owner of the group. File owner and group. It does both. We can just man chgrp. That changes group ownership only. So chown can change both. Chgrp changes just the group. Okay. Now, we should be thinking which ones should be possible to do as just the normal user. And if a user has rights to a file, they can do quite a bit to it. So if we do ls, and I can see I have the temp here. In fact, that's touch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ls-ltrah. So we can see all these here. Let's do this. Let's chmod, and we're going to do other minus read on, we'll do it on 5 since that's on top. Now if we do ls-ltrah, we can see that 5 got rid of the other read bit. What if I want to get rid of, on 4, the owner or the user? So I'm going to change this to user minus read write. And we're going to do that on 4. And there you can see we've got rid of those on 4. Let's do the group one on 3. So chmod group minus read. In fact, let's add minus write as well. Read and write on 3. ls-ltrh. And we can see on 3, we removed the read, and the write wasn't there to be removed, so it didn't matter. So we removed. What if we want to add? Why don't we add executable to user on 2? So chmod u plus x2. There we go. We've added executable. What if we want to add more than one thing? Chmod. Oh, by the way, if you see that, change the color, because that made it so this you can turn this into a script now, because you can run it. It's a file that's executable. Chmod will do group plus read write execute on 1. So in C1, we added read, write, and execute. It already had read, so it didn't need to do anything. But there's the ability to change each and every one of these. Now, let's look at etc groups, which we're going to need to be root to do. So sudo cat. Well, no, do you need to be? You don't need to be a group. Cat etc groups. Oh, is it group? Cat etc group. Okay. So we have all the groups here. By the way, the main one that we've been dealing with is EC2 user, but there are other groups. So we could change the group to one of these others. So for example, we could change it to nobody. Let's change it to nobody on one of these. Okay, let's change that on 5. Or actually, let's change it on 3, because 3 has no group access anyway. So if we try to do chgroup, and we'll, let's see, chgroup, trying to remember if I do the group first. Yes, I think so. Nobody on 3. It says not permitted. I'm going to do sudo bang bang, which will just run the prior command. And now ls-ltrh. And now we see that group 3 is EC2 user and nobody. It didn't let me change the group, even though I was the owner of it. I was giving it to something else. You can't do chgroup or chown as a non-root user or non-administrative user. So let's change the user, which we don't have a lot of users on this. So let's just tel -5 etc password. Oh, I added a user, didn't I? No, not to this one. So we'll put that one on as one of these files. So I can do sudo. In fact, let's try it without sudo first. Chown. And we'll just do that and 4. Not permitted, sudo There we go. And we can see right there. Now we can actually do chown avani colon nobody. And we'll do this for number 5. We'll do 5. So we see we changed both the user and the group at the same time. Cool. Let's see. Let's add a bunch of users. I'm trying to think. Yes. So we're going to do sudo useradd user1 sudo useradd -g user2. Oh, group, I'm going to give it group ec2-user user2. I'm going to do an uppercase G. Okay. Now, if I tell -n, well, I don't need the n, 5, etc passwd, I can see that here's user 1 and user 2. Oh, dang it. I want to do the user 3 on that one. Let's create a user 3. And we're going to change this to lowercase g for user 4. Okay. And let's change this to more like 8. Okay. So we can see here we have user 1 and it has 101, 101. But then user 2 is 102 and 1000. User 3 and then user 4. We're going to create another user. We're going to do it with the uppercase G. User 5. User 6. Let's do another one with the lowercase g. User 7. Yeah, 8 should be enough. Okay, so we have, see how it's interesting that these are still lining up. I think they've changed the stuff, but that's cool. Let's kind of show you how this is lining up. So this is the users, and it has the user ID and then the group ID. So let's look at tel-n. I don't need the n anymore. 12 etc group. Okay. So here ec2user is group 1000. So that's why the ones that I did, if you see up here, so like 7, I did the lowercase g, it set its group to ec2user. The ones that I did the uppercase G, so like group 6, it still created the user for 6, but it added them to ec2user. So actually, let me do a few more with uppercase G. That might work and show you what I was. So let's do uppercase G. 8. No, I don't think it's going to work. I think they changed something. Okay, so so here we can see group user 1, that's its group. 3, that's its group. Yeah, they're skipping. That's cool. So these are the group IDs, and it looks like something new from last year. they try and keep it the same as, let's see, password. The user, when they create a user one. Did I do 12? Yeah. So the reason why these don't always line up is because we're not creating a group for some of them when we use the uppercase G. Cool. So when we look here in our folders, at our files, let's see. Let's touch 6, 7, 8, 9. And sudo chown user 1 colon user 2, and we'll do 6. Oh, shoot, what did I call them? Yeah, user user. Oh, invalid group. Ha. Because user 2 we didn't create a group for. So we can change it to user 3 is the group. And then another group is 5. So we can do 4 and 5. For that matter, we can do 5 and 5 for 7. And 6 and 8 exist. So I could do 8, 6 for 8. Okay, ls-ltrh. So we have different users here. For the owners, for the user, the group, and then of course others, just everyone else. So what I want to show you is if one of these goes away. So let's get rid of user 6. So sudo userdel user 6. Now if I do ls-ltrh, I see a number here because it's been removed. It's no longer in the system. So sometimes when you're working with permissions for users and groups, you're going to see a number here, and just realize that that's because the mapping does not exist in fact, that's just grep user in etc group. So user 6 is no longer here. So it doesn't know how to map it. This number's not here, so it can't map it back to the user. Anyway, went through quite a bit. I hope that's helpful to get you started on file permissions. Next one, we're going to continue on. We'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.